Are you ready to unlock your full potential? Motivational speaker, the comeback coach, and goal crusher Joe Rivera brings you inspiring leaders, incredible stories, and valuable lessons on how you can change, grow, and reforge your life. Now, here's your host, Joe Rivera.
What's up? What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Reforge Your Life Show. I'm your host, Joe Rivera, and here at the Reforge Your Life Show, we like to show you that the comeback is more than possible. And today, man, I'm super excited for bringing this guest on today, man. He's a friend of mine. He's a mindset coach. He's got a podcast called Thinking Big, and he's crushing the game. Sean Osborne, welcome to the show, man. I really appreciate you coming through, brother.
Joe, thank you for having me on the show. This is going to be quite a show. We'll see where this one goes, but it could get spicy. It could get dangerous. We don't know. We'll see where it goes.
Hey, listen, man. The more spicy, the more dangerous, the better, baby. Let's go. Sean, man, you have an incredible story. And I've heard it, and I can't say it anywhere close to the way you can, though. So I'd love for you to share it with the audience, bro.
Yeah, I'd love to. And it's, as we've talked in the past, this is a story that I have not spoken very often. It's something that I've only been talking about for the last couple of years. Matter of fact, when we were together at that speaking academy, this is one of the things that I was actually working on during that, because for the longest time, my story was not good for me. It was something that I was ashamed of. It was something that that I never told anybody. My best friends in the world, known for 10, 12 years, told them, kind of the story. And it's like, they had no idea. They were shocked of what this, the stuff that I'd gone through, the stuff that I had done, just because I had never led on to it. I never talked about it, but I know the power now of our story, the power of what we've gone through. And if I can help just one person move forward, if I can help one person go from where they don't think that they're part of society to being a part of society and being happy, it is all worth everything that I'm doing in talking about this message. And, as by the age of 15, I was on my own. I was out of the house at 15 on my own. Homeless for a good portion of the time. I mean, it's at 15 you can't do much as far as work to get money. So it was homeless. It was just a huge struggle back there at 15, and I'd made bad decisions. I think everyone goes through it, but I had made some very poor decisions in life. I had aligned myself with the wrong people, and I had done things that were not good. I got into drugs. I got into all these things as a kid, and it really, for me, it ruined my life. I mean, that's what got me, put onto the streets. But the funny thing happened is at 16, again, I was in and out of homes, or in and out of places to live, so still somewhat homeless. Having a place, a room that I could rent every once in a while. But I got my girlfriend pregnant. And so this, 16, 17 at the time, still not doing very well. I can't even afford to pay for myself, let alone a family. And it was just a time of complete shock and complete, that was probably the lowest feeling I've ever had in my life is learning that, because I've got a kid coming into the world, and I do not want him to see this stuff that I've been through. And to me, that was what really changed. So that was, we all have catalysts to change. Sometimes it's for pleasure. Sometimes it's to get away from pain. My catalyst is when I found out my son, when my then girlfriend was pregnant, and it's like, that was the catalyst to say, Sean, you need to get off your ass. You need to go do something. You need to become part of society again. You need to, move things forward. And that was the catalyst that took me forward. So it was from that moment on, from that single decision, it's like that. I drew a line in the sand when that happened. That was the catalyst. I drew a line in the sand and said, okay, this is done. I'm not going to be that anymore. This is how I'm going to be. And literally within the next 10, 15 years, I had obviously grown. I had done things. I'd kept moving things forward, kept growing, kept trying to better myself every single day. And by the time I was 30, so less than 15 years, I was taking my first tech company public. And it's like, how do you do that? It's like, people would come to me like, how did you go from where you were from being homeless, from doing this stuff to taking a company public. And I was like, I don't know, that's just the way you do it. That's just how things are. I didn't know. You don't know what you don't know. It's like the rest of everybody. That's just what you do. But even for years after I sold that company, and we took it public, sold it, and I would say for a good 8 years after that, I still felt like a fraud. I still felt like I just was lucky that it couldn't happen again. And it wasn't until I started getting into personal development and starting to learn about these things, how the mind actually works, how we actually operate, that I really understood what had happened by design. I had, by design, changed the programming of myself to learn to do these other things and to become a different person. And we truly are, we become the thoughts that we predominantly have in our minds.
That's right.
Good, bad, we become the thoughts of where we are today are because of the thoughts we've had in the past. And we can change our thoughts at any time. We are in control of our thoughts.
Absolutely, man. Our thoughts become our emotions and feelings. Those emotions and feelings become our reaction, and that reaction becomes our result. Man, there's definitely a lot to unpack there. And congratulations on that journey and overcoming the adversity that you overcame. I'm curious though. So once you made the decision, the baby's coming into the world. You're going from being homeless. What happens after that? Before you take the company public, what was that journey like of getting to that point?
Yeah, again, I think it all starts with just the decision to change, the decision that you want something else. And once you take action, once you start doing that, once you make that decision, then you start seeing the things come together. Then you start having the ideas. Then you start meeting the people. Then you start understanding, oh, I need to learn this, or then you have to start doing X, Y, Z. So it seems like as humans, we do things ass backwards. We normally won't make a decision to do something until we say, well, I don't have enough money to do it, so I'll make the decision then, or I don't know the people, or I don't know how, or I don't know, whatever the bullshit excuse is, I'll make the decision after I get these things, right? And it's completely backwards. We've got to do the things, then, you've got to make the decision, and then you find the things, then you find the money, then you find the people, then you find, how, it's like, but if we don't make that decision, I think one of the best things that I ever did back then was understanding that I see people that are where I want to be. I see people that are, let's say, 1 step ahead or 2 steps ahead. I'm going to do what that guy did. I wasn't looking at the guy that was number 1 in the world at whatever it is. Like, I wasn't looking at these big gurus. I was looking at someone that was 1 step ahead of me, 2 steps ahead of me. And I called him almost like a virtual mentor. It's like I'd never talked to him, but I would look and see what did he do to get where he is, and I would start doing those things. What did he learn to do what he's doing, and I would start learning that. And what did he do? It's like always 1 step ahead. So it was literally 10 years of going from learning one thing to another, going from one mentor to another, going from one idea to another. And it is a snowball thing. But until you take the action, until you start down that path, you're not going to know what to do. You have to start first. And then we find these things. If I would have waited until I had an idea to start a company to move forward back then, I'd still be homeless. I'd still be there, right? It's like you have to make the decision, and then you start the journey. The journey is what reveals how you do it. The journey is what reveals how things are laid out, and the people you meet. Everything is happened because of the decisions I make and taking action on those.
Man, that's so powerful and so important. I'm hoping that the audience picked up what you just dropped, because that was a jewel, and it's so true. When it comes, every successful entrepreneur that I've come across, and I know because I've done it on my journey plenty of times, is when it comes to making that decision to move forward, it's so important to remove the how. Don't worry about the how in that moment, because if you start focusing on the how, like you just said, you're never going to move forward with that decision. The how's going to come into place through the journey that you're going to go through to create that success. It comes in the middle of the journey, right? You got the beginning of the journey and then the end of the journey, the destination. Well, guess what? That's not what it's about. It's the in between. That's where the growth happens. That's where you get those aha moments. That's when the how starts coming together. And you speak a lot about having to flip your mindset and like shift that paradigm. So tell us a little more about what that looked like, because man, I know what it's like to go through, drug and alcohol abuse. And, I know for me, putting the drug down, man, that was the easy part. It was changing my mindset, peeling back that onion and taking stock of who I was. That's where the work was. So what did that look like for you?
So I think there's a lot of ways to look at that. And one, to me, we have to play outside of who we are in order to win. We've got to, again, we're where we are because of who we are, right? And if we don't become somebody else, we're never going to get anything else. And for part of the stuff that I went through and had to learn was sometimes I hate the word fake it till you make it. There's no such thing as fake it till you make it. I wish people would delete that from their vocabulary. It is not fake it till you make it. To me, it is act as if. So there was many times when I was going up through those steps of doing things where I had to be somebody else in order to get the vibration, in order to get the ideas, in order to get, if I need to see this world up here, I need to step up to that world to be able to see those things, to be able to get those ideas, to be able to meet those people. I've got to be into that world, right? So a lot of times what I did was I acted as if. It's like, specifically, I remember when I was first had the idea for my company. Again, I'm a 20-something-year-old, still high school dropout, ninth grade. I was balling cold to get the hell out of school in the ninth grade. So it's like I didn't have an education. I didn't have any of this stuff, but I had this idea for my company. And again, I was I was naive. I didn't know you're not supposed to do things. I would see a big investor that had money. I'd go talk with them. Hey, you'd be an idiot if you don't invest in my company. Here's my business plan. I'm going to do this. So I would just go and talk to these people that were millionaires. One of them was a billionaire, and literally just sit down and say, you know what, you need to invest in my company, and you're an idiot if you don't. And people would say, John, you don't do that. That's not how you do it. I'm like, I did it. That's how I got my money for my company. It's like, that might not be how you do it. That might not be the way that, that is taught, but that's the way I saw Joe over here with a lot of money. I need some money. I'm going to go talk to Joe. I don't care what Joe thinks about me. But one of the things that I learned very quickly, and I probably talked with, I'd say at least 50 or 60 people that turned me down, right? They turned me down. I realized that I could show up in the nicest suit. I used to carry I'm going to date myself. I still have it, a Hartman briefcase. Back in the 80s, Hartman was like all the big wigs, y'all carried their Hartman briefcase. So I had a Hartman briefcase, but they saw me they felt me the second I came into the room. It's like I was not at their level, right? I didn't have to say anything. I could be dressed to the hilt. I could have all the same stuff, but my vibration was not at their vibration. And they quickly understood that. They quickly knew that. And they dismissed me. It's like if you're in a room and everybody listening right now has gone through this, you're in a room, you don't see them, but somebody just walked in the room. Somebody with energy walked in the room. You feel it, that. But we've tuned out how, being able to kind of really use that. But so I had to learn to up my vibration to their level before I went to these meetings with these investors. They had to see me and feel me as a peer, not as someone that was coming to them with money, for money. And the second I learned that, I got the money. I got, millions of dollars to start my company. So I learned that we have to play the part. We have to act as if we have to get into the vibration of where we want to be in order to see the things up there. We can't look over the hill, from the bottom of the hill and say, oh, I wish I could see over there. Like, no, we've got to get to the top of the hill. Then you can see the people. Then you can see the things. Then you have access to those. But you have to be able to put yourself up there, and you have to be able to get into that energy. And it's something that anybody can do. There's some great books out there that on people that do it now. One of them, Alter Ego. That's another. That's a very good book for people to read if you want to learn how to get into an altered state or an altered person. It's called Alter Ego. That's and it's like so. I would use and I have a routine. I would have a routine, but I had like my Hartman briefcase. The second I picked up that Hartman briefcase, I was a different person.
Yeah.
That was my totem. That was my thing. It's like the second I picked up that, you are no better than me. I am right there with you. I've got the energy of you. You can't fuck with me. You can't do anything. It's like I am at the same level as you, and that's the energy. The second I picked up that briefcase, that was my totem. Is like I was changed. I was no longer Sean. I was now Sean. Right? It's like that changed so I reap that as a mechanism to up my energy to appear with the people I was talking to.
Man, man, that's powerful. And that act as if, I mean, that is so true to the form. I mean, it goes back from the people who were successful before us. I mean, Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill speaks about it. The Science of Getting Rich, they speak about it. And it's so important for people to understand how powerful that is when you have that mindset and you're in that act as if stage. And you spoke about being able to raise the energy, to be on that vibrant energy that the other people in the room could feel, and how they didn't feel the energy when you first started doing it, and you realized that you had to make that shift. I want the audience to realize how important that is, to be able to raise your energy to the people around you so that you're on that same vibe as everyone else. Because if you're on a different vibe, people are going to feel it, man. Energy attracts like energy. And if you're not attracting the same energy that the people that you're trying to attract are feeding off, then guess what? You're not going to attract those people. So, when it came to, the grabbing that suitcase and that being the mindset shift, what was it about, that moment that you had to realize, shit, you know what? These people, I'm not on that same level as them. I'm not feeding that same energy. What gave you the suitcase idea?
Just trial and error. It's like I had to, again, I was meeting with people and I was doing these things. And it's like I could feel the energy. So here's the thing. I think one of the gifts I had from being homeless and on the streets was you learn to read people very quickly. It's life and death. It's like I can tell you, even to this day, I still have that gift from being homeless. It's like within 10 seconds of meeting someone, it's like, yep, nope. I read energy extremely quickly. So when I would go into these places, I would feel the energy. I would feel that their energy was bigger than mine. Like I would literally, feel that. I'm like, okay, I can, and I knew that whether they were doing it consciously or subconsciously, most of them were probably subconscious. They didn't understand, but they're feeling. It's like, that's, they knew that, oh, Sean's not one of us. He is, he's just here for money. He is not one of us. He doesn't have the energy. I was able to pick up on that and say, okay, I understand why they're then yes. And so again, but it's all about taking action. If I would have not taken action to go and talk to these people, I would have never figured out, oh, I need to up my energy for them to actually see me as a peer, for them to be able to invest in my company. And so it was just taking the action and going through it and being very aware of the surrounding. It's like always learning, always seeing. So again, I think part of being homeless is I always thought of myself as being, I don't want to say the lowest on the totem pole anywhere I went, but it was like, no matter where I went, I knew there was something for me to learn. So it instilled in me, no matter where I go, no matter what room I'm in, and even to this day, it doesn't matter if I'm running a mastermind group and I'm the host of it, there's always something for me to learn in that room. So even when I went to these things, I would learn internally, okay, why is it not working? Why is it? Again, it's taking action and then looking at what happened and saying, okay, why did it happen? What can I do differently to change the outcome?
Yeah. Wow. That's powerful. And you mentioned, how you learned to read a room and read people pretty quick from when you were homeless. And for the audience out there, I just want y'all to realize what this is it someone who has not allowed his past to define it. He utilized his past to be able to catapult him into the future using the skill set that he got from being on the street. Now it's helped him be successful in life and going forward into, I mean, bringing a fucking company public. To go from being homeless to bringing a company public, that's a fucking huge win. And he's using the skill sets that he learned from even in his darkest time. So just because you're in a dark time right now doesn't mean that it's the end all of be all, right? You can utilize that time to bring you towards your future and use those learning lessons to be able to create your own destiny. Because man, and another thing that you mentioned that I think that is important for the audience to realize, I don't remember the exact number you said, but you said 60 something times that you got turned down with that
Yeah.
company, right? And tell us a little more about that, because that's something that a lot of people struggle with. And some people would have given up at that first few times, but you went 69 and then didn't accept no.
Yeah, and it's so, one, you mentioned something. I think me being homeless was the biggest gift I ever got. So to me, hardship builds you strong. If you have it easy, I hate to say it, you're going to be screwed the rest of your life. It's just the way it is. It's like when we go through hardship. So anybody that's going through something hard, that is a gift. Look at it as an absolute gift, because being homeless and going through that was more. There's not a university, there's not a school, there is nothing in this world that could teach me what I learned going through that. And it was a free education. So it's like anything you're going through, any turmoil, anything bad, look at it as a gift, because there's a reason that you're going through it. There's a reason. There's something that you'll absolutely learn from it, or you're going to go through it again. One of the two. I mean, but it's a learning lesson, right? So I think that is, again, one of the biggest gifts that I ever got in life was being homeless. I am so privileged. I am so lucky that I went through that, because I can assure you I would not be where I am today without going through that, pain, without going through that struggle. I would never be where I am. And part of when we're at those spots, and when we're going through those and we're getting out of those, one of the things that I learned was just perseverance. It's like, you can't take much out of me. It's like, I've been at the bottom. I've been there. It's like, I've been at the lowest of lows. So there's nothing you can do that will offend me. There's nothing that you can do that's going to hurt me. So it's like, I would go to these people and say, again and again and again, because I knew eventually someone would see the value. Like, I had a good business plan. I had good ideas, and eventually someone was going to see it. But it was just the journey that gave me the ability to persevere and say, you know what, I'll keep going and keep going. I mean, what's the worst can happen? I'll be back on the streets again. Yeah, I've been there, done that. It's like, so I'm no longer afraid of the rejection from these people. I think so many times, and even today, like if I was to go through that today, it would be hard for me to do the same thing that I did, because I've been programmed to, you don't go to people and just ask for, you don't go to these investors and just say, I need your money. It's like, there's processes. So I would actually go differently, and that's not a good thing. It's like, but I've been programmed since then. But the whole thing is, once you've been there, it's like, you know this, you have to persevere. You got to keep going until keep going until, and people say, until what? Until you win. Keep going, get back up, go, get back up and go. And it's like, those things, we need to have an arsenal. And part of that is, you hear people talk about, you burn your boats, burn everything. It's like, so you have no other option. As humans, we will normally try to take the path of least resistance. It's human nature, right? Yeah. It's built into our DNA. So if we burn our other options and we burn the boats, we have no way to go but to go forward. We have no way but to keep going and keep asking and keep doing the things.
Yeah, man. Man, shit. Adversity reveals character, man, without a doubt. And you know, you mentioned though, I kind of want to go into something because you mentioned about how you program your brain after to you so you'd go about asking a different way. So speaking about the programs that are in the brain and the way were programmed, I'm curious through the journey of being homeless, drug abuse, bringing a company, then going to bringing a company public. In that time frame before that, I mean, there's limited beliefs that come up that have to get cracked through in order for you to be able to go bring a company public, to overcome being homeless, to overcome substance abuse. What are some of those beliefs? What's that belief? What did that belief system look like that you had to crack through?
So, obviously my belief was that, I'm not really part of society. I've gotten, it's like, it was a very weird way to be programmed, but on the good side, I never went through. So again, I got out of, I was kicked out of school in the ninth grade. So I was never programmed of what I can or can't do. And I think that's some of the biggest problems I see kids going through school. Not school's a bad thing. I'm not saying school's a bad thing. I'm just saying I was never programmed that, oh, you can't be, you can't be. So from a mindset standpoint, I was sometimes if I look back and it's almost like, Sean, you were just too stupid to fail. Like I didn't know of the things I couldn't do. I was never programmed with the things that you shouldn't do. It's like now I've been programmed by society and all these things are like, oh, you really shouldn't go and do that. That's not the proper way of doing it. But we're always programmed by our environment. Everything that we go through, everything we see is programming us every single day of what we're doing.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. And when you realize that you had to crack through that belief system of you're not part of society, when you finally did crack through that, what are some of the core values that were uncovered? Because I believe once, I mean, limited beliefs are going to be a part of our life forever, right? But once we learn to overcome and realize that, you know what? Those voices in our head aren't real. Those voices in our head don't control our destiny. We control our own destiny. And we get through and are able to crack through that belief system to build a new belief system. I believe that there's core values that are uncovered that we that we live by. So what are some of those core values that were uncovered for you?
So what's funny is I think I still had those limiting beliefs that I had even after I sold the company. Again, for 6, 7, 8 years after I sold the company, I still had those same limiting beliefs. So the way I look at it is we can operate even though we have limiting beliefs. And to me, to get rid of limiting beliefs, it's relearning, it's redoing things. It's like starting a new path and eventually that new path becomes our new programming, right? So that's but we have to be able to just move forward, even if our programming says that it's not, because everything happens outside. You hear this, everything happens outside of our comfort zone. And anything that's outside of our comfort zone is outside of our programming, right? If we already know it and we trust it, it's like, that's where we already are. That's, we're not going to get any further. It's being able to force yourself outside of your limiting beliefs, knowing what you're limiting. If it's, you have to, you don't even necessarily, I didn't realize I had limiting beliefs. Like I had never gone through any type of personal development. I didn't understand what a limiting belief was. I just knew that, Sean, you're not one of them. And, but it was, again, they're all limiting beliefs, but we have to force ourselves to work outside of our comfort zone, to work outside of our limiting beliefs in order to start changing those. We don't change them by just saying, hey, I want to change my limiting belief.
Right.
We don't just do that. You have to experience that. And that changes our limiting beliefs of who we are. Now I know, after living through that, going through that, still having all those limiting beliefs, and then finally learning what these things were, that, oh, now I can actually go back and I can start changing those limiting beliefs. And I still even have some of those today. I mean, some of these things are ingrained into, to the lowest level of programming in our bodies and in our minds that it's there. It's just, if you start understanding it, you start understanding how you operate, how you work, that you can go and you can play outside of that comfort zone and you can start enjoying that. And when you do, that's when you change the programming. That's when you change the limiting beliefs. Every time you go outside of it and you stay there long enough, that limiting belief is going to go away. Go outside that limiting belief. That's going to go away. It's like you're always becoming the new normal, the new normal, the new normal. And you just keep pushing past that. But again, everybody's going to have those limiting beliefs, and you do it anyways, right? You move forward regardless of whether you think you can. If you're going after a goal and you think that you can do it, it's not a big enough goal. It's within your comfort zone, right?
That's right.
You've got to be going for things that you're like, Sean, you're an idiot for doing that. That is insane. Good. That's where I need to put myself in order to grow, because that's definitely outside of my belief system of what I'm capable of doing.
Absolutely, man. The magic happens on the other side of that comfort zone. You got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable in order to succeed in life. I'm curious though. So because I believe that, at least for me, when I crack, 'cause those limited beliefs, like you said, they come up all the time. They still come up till this day. But I'm big on digging in to a prior experience when something happened and I had to crack through one of those limited beliefs, and utilizing that to help me crack through other limited beliefs that come up. So, for example, I'm big on, my core values. One of them is spirituality, and digging in. I didn't have that spirituality when I was out there, drinking and drugging. I had no idea what a higher source was. I thought it was, my higher power at the time was money. So, but tapping into that spirituality now to help me crack through those limited beliefs that come up on a daily basis makes life so much easier. So I'm curious, what's a tool that you use to crack through those limited beliefs when they do arise in your life?
That's a good question. And I think part of it is wanting to further my message or further to help people. It's like, that is one of my core values of why I keep pushing myself to do things that I don't want to do. Is I truly think that every human has a unbelievable gift for the world. And it's like, so moving that message forward, getting someone out of that crap that they've been in the past is part of what drives me. And it's like, so for instance, you talked about my podcast. I've done it for, I think we're on season 6. I could not get in front of anybody except unless it was a boardroom. Like I could back then, it's like I could stand up in front of a board of directors, a boardroom, and tell them exactly what they need to know, what they need to do. But if it was getting in front of other people that were outside of that, it scared the living crap out of me. It's like, that's so far out of my comfort zone. So I did things. I knew I wanted to push my message. I knew I had to get this out. So the only reason I started my podcast was to force myself every single week to at least get in front of a mic and start talking. Same with videos, same way with going through the public speaking. Like, that is so not me, that it's so out of my comfort zone. But I know that if I don't force myself out of the comfort zone to do those things, then my core value of helping people will not happen. They will see it if I can't talk, right? If I have no voice, then there's no way that they will ever do that. So a lot of what I'm doing today is because of my true passion, my true value of really wanting to help people move forward. And again, that comes from the past. It's like, I've been there. It's like, you don't have to stay there. It's rented space. You can move anytime you want. And but doing that definitely brought me out of my comfort zone, doing things that I would never have done before. But I have to force myself. It's like, it's not easy. The podcast now, it's easy. It's fine. It's like, so I'm now at a new level, right? I've now pushed myself past, and now that podcast is the comfort zone. And now I've done videos. So I've got to keep increasing my comfort zone out further and further. But we have to force ourselves, because it's never comfortable. It's called the comfort zone for a reason. And sometimes it is downright terrifying getting out of those zones and doing things, but we've got to work. But to me, it's once you understand that, it makes it easier to force yourself out of that comfort zone. You know that there's a win at the end of that comfort zone. You know that you will grow. So if you understanding that feeling is a great feeling, because you know that we're furthering what it is that we're passionate about.
That's right, man. Man, that again, man, knowing that on the other side of that comfort zone is a win is a gem, and it's so true, man. And it's so amazing to me how, I mean, a lot of entrepreneurs that I've come across, and, all the guests that I've had on this show, other entrepreneurs that I know and business leaders out there who have had really overcome adversity in their life and had to bounce back from something like being homeless, something like substance abuse, something like child abuse, molestation, whatever it is. One thing that we all have in common is wanting to be of service and to help other people overcome the adversities that they have in their life. And you mentioned how, that's something that you dig into to remind yourself that, oh shit, you know what? No, I got to do this because this is how I'm going to be able to help people. This is how I'm going to be able to walk and live in my purpose. This is how I'm able to give this gift that I've been given back. So, man, Sean, that is fucking awesome, man. Thank you for sharing that for real, man. That's because that's so important for people to realize who are going through a struggle, that that struggle doesn't belong to you. You're not going through that struggle just to go through a struggle. You're going through that struggle so that you could overcome that struggle and be able to help other people who may be going through a similar struggle. So important to realize, y'all. Sean, I'd love for you to share with the audience where they could find you and what you're doing now.
Yeah, so thinkingbigcoaching.com is the best place, is kind of the central resource for what I do. And it's so funny. So as we take action, things reveal themselves on how we need to grow and how we need to move. I started thinking big just as a way to coach people and to get people further faster, to get people kind of basically a mindset performance type coaching is what I did. I did that for, last 5 or 6 years at least. And then part of what I've done is I've actually been able to grow, so like my email list, my community is over 200,000 people now. So my email list is over 200,000 people. And what's funny is as you take action, things reveal themselves, right? So it's like the last, 8 to 12 months, most of my coaching lately has been with they see me as, as another entrepreneur, as a coach, and they're like, okay, that's great. Your coaching is awesome, but I want to know how you built your company to run like it does. So it's like a lot of my stuff that I'm doing now is actually teaching entrepreneurs how to build their communities, how to build their lists. And the only reason I say that is, again, as I said earlier, as you start taking action, then the ways that you can help people, the ways that you can push your message forward, the way that you can do things, it's going to reveal itself as you're taking that action, as you're taking those steps. 3 years ago, I would have never thought, hey, let's help other entrepreneurs grow their company, grow their revenue, grow their stuff. It's like, that was never even in my mind. I had no idea. It came to me. It's like, I was doing my thing. It's like, so anything that you're doing now, people that are listening, as you take action, pay attention to what's going on, because that's where you're going to get the ideas of moving forward. That's where you're going to meet the people. That's where you're going to have, that's where you tap into the universe of these ideas coming in. It's like, but you have to take that action. You start today, start something. It doesn't matter what you do. Just start with some action and things will start revealing themselves.
Man, I love that, man, because I'm a big believer in, there's no perfect time to start something. That perfection is bullshit. It's an illusion. There's no better time than the present. And you got to take action in your life if you want results, without a doubt. So, Sean, a few questions that I ask all my guests. The first is, what does the word purpose mean to you?
To me, purpose is passion. To me, purpose is why I'm here. Purpose is why I do the things that I do. And to me, purpose is built into us. It's like we all have a purpose, whether we've recognized it, whether we've uncovered it. But we all have something incredible. We all have a gift. We all have something to give the world. And to me, that is our purpose. That is why we're here. And it's uncovering that and learning what that is to me is the important thing in life.
Man, I love that. We've all been blessed with a gift, and it's our job to find what that gift is and share it with the world, man. 100%. And what makes your spirit come alive?
Really being able to help people. It's like being able to do things and being able to help and seeing that. So one of the best feelings is when someone comes to me and say, you know what you did, Sean, has inspired me to do something. What you've done has helped me change my life. Again, that goes back to purpose. That's what it's all about. That's what, to me, that is what humanity is about. That's how I, as humans, is being able to help other people along that are on the same journey as we are.
Man, it's so true, man, isn't it? And I think we have this in common, so we could probably both share on this. But isn't it incredible how, I mean, for me, there's no drug, no alcohol will ever give that euphoric feeling that I get when I'm able to empower someone to transform their life. I mean, that's a gift that just keeps on giving, right?
And that's the purpose. That's, again, that is, to me, that is what we're here on earth today. I'm not a religious person. I didn't grow up in a religious family, but I am a true believer in the universe, in spirit. And again, I've had so many opportunities to tap into that it's just been incredible over the past 5-6 years.
Yeah, and I think you know what, I don't want to go too far deep into this because this could turn into a whole topic that we don't need to get into right now. But I think it's important for the audience to know it's not about religion. It doesn't have to be religious. You know what I mean? There's a big difference between religion and spirituality, and believing in something that's out there that's greater than yourself, that's going to help you unlock your fullest potential. Whether you call it God, the universe, the infinite intelligence, that doesn't matter. It's about latching on to that and realizing that universe, that spiritual being, God, whatever you call it, is what's going to help you be able to take your life to the next level. And I think it's vital for the listeners to really understand that.
Yeah, and I truly believe in that. I truly do. And it's like, to me, our thoughts are our way to communicate out to the universe what we want. Mm-hmm. Those ideas and the people that come into our lives, those are the universe's way of answering our thoughts. See, that's why thoughts become things. That is why, what we think that he become is because our thoughts are broadcasting out, and the universe is saying, well, here you go, Sean. Yvonne, sitting here broadcasting out crap and fear and not having things. And guess what the universe is going to give back to me? Obviously, we'll get back to the questions that I have. And it's like, I truly believe in that. And what's funny is, over the past 5 years, one of the books that helped me realize how I did what I did is Think and Grow Rich. You'd mentioned the book Think and Grow Rich. And what's funny is, like, I've now been able to work with the Napoleon Hill Foundation. I've been in WISE. I've seen documents, handwritten documents from Napoleon Hill that nobody has ever seen. Like, I've got to go to the archive. It's like this whole thing, again, as we take action, things unfold. And it's like, it's just an amazing thing to be on a journey and actually paying attention and designing that journey the way that we want it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Our thoughts do become things. And man, Think and Grow Rich was a big part of changing my life too, brother. So I feel you in that. And when you hear the word reforge, what comes to mind with you?
So reforge, it's not a word that I normally use, but if I look at reforge, it's like, to me, we are constantly changing ourselves. We are constantly, if we are not growing, we're dying.
That's right.
And it's like I can't remember who said this, but it's like, you're either at the dinner table or you're on the menu. You're either the one being or you're eating. It's like, we have to reforge. We have to constantly grow, because if we don't reforge, if we don't constantly grow, we are dying. We're being eaten. And it's like, it's not a question of should. It's like, that is a non-negotiable. We have to reforge every single day. Every day is a reforge of what we do. We have to keep moving forward and keep learning and keep growing.
I love that, man. Every day we're reforging, and man, I'm going to use that. You're either on your menu or you're getting eaten, man. That's a good one. I like that one. You mind if I borrow that?
Yep. I think it might have been John Maxwell, but yeah, it's like you're either at the table or on the menu.
I love that.
No other option.
So Sean, before we go, I just, what's one thing the audience doesn't know about you that you do for fun?
Oh, that I do for fun? I irritate the crap out of my wife. Most people who know me know that. But my job is, when I get up in the morning, it's like, okay, how can I irritate my wife, Amy. So here's the thing. So that girl that I got pregnant at 16, we've now, I think 38 years.
Ugh.
I've had a lot of time to learn how to piss her off. So a daily thing. But I think, again, knowing my past, people just don't understand. And everyone has a story. Everyone's gone through shit. Everyone, that's part of life, and we have to expect that. We have to love it. To me, I thrive in the doghouse. It's like I'm at my best. I thrive there.
That's great. That's definitely a fun fact that people probably didn't know, that you thrive in the doghouse. Oh, man. Well, Sean, this has been awesome, bro. I really, really appreciate you coming through. I knew that you were going to bring the energy, the knowledge, and you even exceeded the expectations, bro. So again, thank you for coming through, man.
No problem. It's been great. Been great being on here and to be able to, talk about our stories. Again, I think it's imperative that we bring these forward.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And for all the viewers out there, listeners, thank y'all for tuning in. And please, y'all, do me a favor, man. LFSS, like, follow, subscribe, and share. Because there's somebody out there who's struggling today to create their own comeback. And they didn't see this episode, or they don't know about the podcast in the past episodes. And this episode or one of the other episodes could help change their life, help them take their business to the next level. So please, don't forget to share the episode. Stay productive, stay profitable, and stay blessed.
You've been listening to Reforge Your Life with your host, Joe Rivera. Make sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. To learn more about Joe Rivera and how he can help you or your organization reforge your life and regain your place at the top, head on over to withjoerivera.com and follow Joe on all social platforms. The Reforge Your Life podcast was produced by Thrive Loud Productions. Thanks for listening.